Ladies and gentlemen, betrayal is as old as human civilization itself. The moment men gathered in groups, swore allegiance and created bonds of trust, the seeds of treachery were sown. You may believe that loyalty is the bedrock of relationships, that honor is the glue of alliances. But history has shown time and again that loyalty is fragile, honor is an illusion, and trust, once given, is often a weapon in the hands of the cunning. The sooner you understand this, the better prepared you will be to navigate the treacherous waters of power, ambition, and survival. To be betrayed is to be human, but to betray, or at the very least, to anticipate and neutralize betrayal, is to be powerful. Let us now dissect the psychology of betrayal, why it happens, how it unfolds, and how one can either avoid being its victim or wield it as a strategic tool. The roots of betrayal: envy and self-preservation. All betrayal originates from two fundamental emotions: envy and self-preservation. 1. Envy, the shadow that follows success. The moment you achieve something, wealth, influence, admiration, you cast a shadow that attracts envy. The more you shine, the more others will resent you. They may smile in your presence, offer their congratulations, but inside, they fester with jealousy. And envy, unlike anger or hate, is a silent killer. It simmers beneath the surface, manifesting in small, imperceptible acts of sabotage until the final, fatal strike. Take the case of Julius Caesar. He was adored by the people, respected as a military genius. But among those closest to him, men who dined at his table and fought at his side, jealousy festered. Brutus, the one whom Caesar trusted most, was among those who led the fatal stabbing. Why? Because no man, no matter how powerful, can exist without provoking the envy of those beneath him. If you have achieved anything in life, understand this: someone close to you resents you for it. 2. Self-preservation. The ultimate excuse. Human beings, above all else, are creatures of self-interest. When loyalty and self-preservation collide, self-preservation always wins. A friend, a business partner, even a lover, will betray you the moment it becomes necessary for their own survival, reputation, or ambition. Consider the case of Benedict Arnold, one of America's most revered generals, until he became its most infamous traitor. At one point, Arnold was a hero, but when he felt underappreciated, underpaid, and saw a better opportunity in aligning with the British, his loyalty dissolved overnight. He did not see himself as a traitor. He saw himself as a man who had been wronged. And here lies another truth. Most betrayers do not view their actions as betrayal. They justify them as acts of necessity, fairness, even justice. Never assume someone will remain loyal to you simply because of shared history. When their survival, their advancement, or their ego is at stake, you will be discarded like a pawn in a game of chess. The stages of betrayal, how it unfolds. Betrayal is rarely an impulsive act. It follows a pattern, one that, if you are perceptive enough, you can detect before it is too late. 1. The concealment phase. At first, the betrayer will remain outwardly loyal. They will act as if nothing has changed. But if you observe closely, the signs are always there. Subtle withdrawal, a change in their demeanor, a forced enthusiasm when speaking to you. Their laughter becomes hollow, their words slightly too calculated. 2. The testing phase. Before a betrayer strikes, they will test your awareness. They may drop hints, create small provocations, gauge your reactions. If you remain oblivious, if you fail to see the shift in their energy, they will proceed to the next stage. 3. The execution phase. This is the moment of the act, the theft, the defamation, the treasonous act. And what you must understand is this: when betrayal is finally revealed, it is not the moment it was conceived. It was planted long ago, nurtured by resentment, watered by opportunity, and harvested when the time was right. How to protect yourself from betrayal. If betrayal is inevitable, how does one guard against it? 1. Expect it never be so naive as to believe you are immune. The more successful you become, the greater the likelihood of betrayal. Anticipate it. Watch for signs. And always assume that the most dangerous enemies are not your obvious rivals, but those who smile in your presence. 2. Control information. The less people know about your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, your plans, the less they can use against you. Betrayers require leverage. Do not give it to them. 3. Divide and rule. One of the greatest defenses against betrayal is to prevent the formation of alliances against you. A lone enemy is weak, but if your opponents conspire, they become formidable. Keep your allies divided, your subordinates competing, and your inner circle in a state of dependency on you. 4. Strike first. If you sense betrayal brewing, do not wait to be struck first. If you hesitate, you lose. A preemptive strike, whether through exposure, isolation, or direct confrontation, can neutralize a threat before it materializes. The strategic use of betrayal. While betrayal is often viewed as an evil, history has shown that those who rise to power often wield it as a strategic tool. Do not misunderstand me. I do not advocate for mindless disloyalty, but I do advocate for realism. There are times when betrayal is necessary for self-preservation, for ascension, for ultimate victory. Consider Napoleon. His rise was built upon a series of calculated betrayals, turning against former allies, discarding those who had outlived their usefulness. But his mistake was in assuming that he could trust anyone. In the end, those closest to him, his own generals, turned against him. The lesson is clear. Use betrayal as a weapon if you must, but never assume you are immune to it yourself. Betrayal is neither good nor evil. It is simply human nature. To be blindsided by it is a failure in perception. To be destroyed by it is a failure in strategy. But to anticipate it, to defend against it, and when necessary, to wield it to your advantage, that is the mark of a true master. Do not be bitter when you are betrayed. Instead, ask yourself, what did I miss? What weakness did I reveal? Where did I fail to anticipate? But knowing that betrayal will come is not enough. The true strategist does not merely anticipate, he adapts, counteracts, and transforms betrayal into an advantage. History does not favor those who crumble in the face of treachery. It favors those who, like a grandmaster in chess, plan 3 moves ahead, turning an enemy's strike into their own checkmate. Now let us go deeper. Let us explore not only how to survive betrayal, but how to use it as a weapon, how to ensure that when it occurs, it serves your interests rather than destroys you. The 3 responses to betrayal: weakness, strength, and mastery. Betrayal is an inevitable test of character, and there are only 3 ways one can respond to it. 1. The weak response: emotion and destruction. This is the response of the naive, the sentimental, the unprepared. When betrayed, they react with blind rage, with self-pity, with irrational attempts at revenge. This is the man who, after being cheated by his business partner, ruins his own reputation in a public outburst. This is the woman who, after a lover's infidelity, allows bitterness to consume her, making her incapable of trust or happiness. Understand this: anger is a luxury you cannot afford. Those who betray you expect you to react emotionally. They count on your destruction being a consequence of your own lack of control. If you let them dictate your emotions, they have already won. 2. The strong response: calculated revenge. A stronger individual does not react with emotion, but with strategy. When they are betrayed, they plan their counterattack meticulously. They do not lash out blindly, but wait for the perfect moment to strike. Take the case of Otto von Bismarck, Germany's Iron Chancellor. When political allies turned against him, he did not panic. He waited. He studied their weaknesses, and when the moment was right, he methodically dismantled their influence, one by one, until he stood supreme once more. If you seek revenge, ensure it is slow, silent, and devastating. The master response: using betrayal to your advantage. The highest level of power is not merely surviving betrayal or avenging it. It is turning it into an asset. This requires an understanding of human nature so deep that you see betrayal not as a setback, but as a necessary step in your long-term victory. Consider Julius Caesar once more. When he was captured by pirates in his youth, they underestimated him. He joked with them, promised them a higher ransom than they had demanded, playing the fool. But once he was released, he hunted them down and crucified them all. He let them believe they had won before making his victory absolute. True power lies in manipulating betrayal, in letting your enemies think they have succeeded, only for you to pull the strings that dictate their downfall. How to manipulate betrayal for your own gain. To truly master the psychology of betrayal, you must learn how to use it as a tool rather than merely defend against it. 1. The art of controlled betrayal. Creating a false traitor. One of the most powerful strategies is to engineer a betrayal that you control. This means allowing an associate, whether in business, politics, or warfare, to think they have betrayed you, while in reality, they are only doing what you have led them to do. For example, during World War II, the British ran an elaborate deception operation known as Operation Mincemeat, feeding the Germans false intelligence by making them believe they had stolen classified documents. In reality, every step was meticulously orchestrated. Apply this principle in your own life. If you know someone is inclined to betray you, feed them misinformation. Let them believe they have tricked you, and when they act on it, expose them at the perfect moment, discrediting them while elevating your own position. 2. Publicly humiliating the betrayer. The execution strategy. When betrayal occurs, your response must serve as a lesson. If you let one traitor escape unpunished, you encourage others to follow their path. Instead, make an example of them. In the ancient world, kings and generals would not simply kill traitors. They would stage public executions to send a message. The message was clear: let this be a warning to all who dare consider treachery. In modern life, this does not mean literal executions, but it does mean publicly dismantling the betrayer's credibility. If a business partner steals from you, expose them in such a way that no one will ever trust them again. If an employee works against you, do not merely fire them, ruin their reputation so that they serve as a deterrent to others. 3. Rebuilding stronger. After betrayal. Many people allow betrayal to make them paranoid, reclusive, afraid to trust again. This is weakness. Instead, you must use betrayal to refine your strategy, strengthen your defenses, and elevate your understanding of human nature. If you were betrayed because you trusted too much, become more selective in who you allow close to you. If you were betrayed because you showed weakness, cultivate an aura of power that makes others fear turning against you. If you were betrayed because someone saw an opportunity, remove those opportunities before they arise again. Every betrayal should be viewed as a lesson, a sharpening of your instincts, a refinement of your power. The greatest betrayal you will ever face is not from a friend, a lover, or an ally. It is the betrayal of yourself. How often have you ignored your instincts when they warned you of someone's dishonesty? How often have you allowed your emotions to cloud your judgment, leading you into situations where betrayal was inevitable? How often have you failed to act decisively, allowing an enemy to strike first? The ultimate betrayal is self-deception, the refusal to see things as they truly are. If you wish to master power, if you wish to rise above the ordinary, you must first stop betraying yourself. See human nature for what it is, not what you wish it to be. Recognize that betrayal is inevitable, but defeat is not. When you understand this, you will never again be blindsided. You will never again be weak. You will never again be a victim. We have explored the inevitability of betrayal and the strategic responses that separate the weak from the powerful. We have discussed the art of controlling betrayal, of manipulating it to serve our own ends, of turning enemies into pawns in our grand design. But there remains a final, more profound layer, one that only the most cunning minds understand. Betrayal, in its most refined form, is not something to fear, nor something merely to counter. It is something to wield. Those who truly master the psychology of betrayal do not just survive it. They do not just anticipate it. They do not merely punish the traitor. They use it as a tool to advance their position, to create movement where stagnation exists, to force the hands of others, and to sculpt reality according to their will. This is the highest form of power, the ability to betray strategically, intentionally, and in a way that benefits you more than it costs. Let us now explore this final lesson. The 4 types of strategic betrayal. There are 4 types of betrayal that can be deliberately orchestrated for strategic gain. Each is a tool that, when wielded correctly, allows you to control the board rather than simply react to it. 1. The betrayal of expectations, breaking illusions to gain leverage. One of the most potent betrayals is the betrayal of expectations. This occurs when you deliberately present yourself in one way, only to later reveal your true nature in a way that destabilizes those around you. Consider the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. He was underestimated by the French elite, seen as a mere military officer with no political ambition. He cultivated this image, allowing them to believe he posed no threat, until, at the perfect moment, he seized power and declared himself emperor. How to use this? If people expect you to be weak, play the part until the moment you strike. If your enemies assume you will react emotionally, remain cold and calculated, making them uncomfortable in their miscalculation. If an ally expects your loyalty forever, let them grow comfortable before you shift alliances at the moment of greatest advantage. Betrayal is most effective when it shatters illusions, forcing those around you to recognize their mistake, too late to correct it. 2. The controlled backstab. Betraying one to secure many. In the pursuit of power, loyalty is a currency that must be spent wisely, and sometimes a well-timed betrayal of one person can secure the loyalty of many others. The greatest rulers in history understood this. They knew that sacrificing a subordinate, a business partner, or even a close ally at the right moment could send a message that reinforced their dominance. Take the example of Joseph Stalin. He methodically eliminated former allies, not because they had betrayed him first, but because doing so solidified his control. By publicly punishing supposed traitors, even if they had been loyal, he cultivated fear-based loyalty among those who remained. How to use this? If a subordinate begins to think they are indispensable, orchestrate their downfall to remind everyone that no one is untouchable. If an ally's loyalty wavers, betray them first, setting a precedent that disloyalty will not be tolerated. If you are in a competitive environment, sacrifice a rival to gain favor with those in power. The key is to ensure that the gain from the betrayal outweighs the loss. 3. The phantom betrayal. Making others think you have turned against them. Sometimes, betrayal is not an act, but an illusion. The most sophisticated strategists understand that by making others believe you have betrayed them, even when you have not, you can manipulate their emotions to your advantage. This is the principle behind espionage, psychological warfare, and high-stakes negotiations. When an ally believes you have turned against them, they will either panic and expose their vulnerabilities, or desperately try to win you back, giving you leverage. How to use this? In business, subtly suggest that you may leave a partnership to see how much more your partner is willing to offer to keep you. In negotiations, act as if you are considering switching sides, forcing both parties to bid for your allegiance. In personal relationships, withdraw your loyalty for a period, making others realize your value. then dictate the new terms upon your return. A perceived betrayal can create desperation, fear, and a shift in power, without you actually committing an act of disloyalty. The ultimate betrayal, betraying an idea for a greater one. The highest form of betrayal is not against a person, but against an idea, a belief, or an outdated loyalty. History remembers those who abandoned old alliances, ideologies, and traditions in favor of something greater. Julius Caesar betrayed the Roman Republic to create an empire. Martin Luther betrayed the Catholic Church to spark the Reformation. The founding fathers of America betrayed British rule to establish a new world order. To truly achieve power, you must be willing to abandon what no longer serves you. This may mean betraying an old belief, a past loyalty, or even a former version of yourself. How to use this? If an ideology or business model no longer benefits you, abandon it, even if it means betraying those who still cling to it. If a mentor, teacher, or superior has served their purpose, distance yourself and evolve beyond them. If a past promise holds you back, break it, so long as what you gain is worth more than what you lose. The greatest leaders are not shackled by past loyalties. They recognize when a shift in direction is necessary, and they make the cut without hesitation. The final rule: betray without regret. The weak agonize over betrayal. They hesitate, they doubt, they second-guess their decisions. This is why they remain powerless. The strong understand that betrayal, when done strategically, is not a moral failing, but a necessity of survival. They do not betray out of emotion, impulse, or recklessness, but out of cold, calculated necessity. And most importantly, they do not look back. If you hesitate before making a necessary betrayal, you have already lost. The most powerful individuals in history did not rise by being loyal to those who no longer served their interests. They did not stay true to outdated ideas or hold on to alliances that weakened them. They cut when the time was right, and they never apologized for it. This is the final lesson. Betrayal is not just something to fear, to suffer, or to avoid. It is a tool, a weapon, a power, and those who master it, without guilt, without hesitation, rise above all others. We are Indeceptor.